from before behind. All right, so it looks like we've got everybody here. Let's take a look now. So let me share my screen and let's look at this assignment. So it's going to be right down here, 4.2, and it does say CH4-2, which means this is for a grade. There's something in here you will need to turn in on time to get full credit. Go ahead and view the full assignment here. So before we start with Adobe Premiere, the video editing part of this, which we want to get to next week, we got to collect everything up and put it in a nice, neat folder all by itself, because we got a lot of extra things, pictures we didn't end up using, extra pieces that were too small, snips that we were turning in, and so all of that's in the project folder. And before we move to the new stage of the project, we're going to make a video assets folder. So there's the name of it. I want you to copy and paste this. It's going to be very important in some instances. So I want to know that you're not just typing this in, but use the copy and paste technique. And we're going to copy and paste our images. They need to be numbered. If they're not numbered, you're going to run into more difficulty on this step than anything else. And we're going to put them from our project folder into the new folder. We're only going to copy and paste images that are larger than 2,200 by 1,200, which means this is the time you're going to check every number against these numbers and not put the picture in there if it is too small. So this is a simple, is it greater than or equal to mathematical operation. You are more than up for that. So any pictures that are smaller than 2,200 in the first number, that's the width, or 1,200 in the second number, that's the height, that end up in this new folder will significantly lower your grade. Best to just leave it behind, and we can stick in a picture of a koala. I'll give you a picture of London or whatever I have to give you so that you have pictures to put in there, but we're not gonna have any pictures that are too small. You've had too much time, too much instruction and re-instruction to be able to find the pictures. We have a filter on Google search, 8 megapixels. You'll only get to the large pictures if you do that and follow those steps. So first we're gonna go into the video assets folder and we're gonna change the view to the details view. So a couple things to do here. First of all, I'm here in my project folder. You can see there's a lot of stuff in here and we need to make a new folder. So one of the ways to do that is click this little button. So with a one click, it makes a new folder. Over here on the left, you can see I've got my documents open and you can see the project folder in there. I did notice that many of you don't have this, and that can make getting around a lot harder. And I figured out that this navigation pane, so view and then the navigation pane, is turned off. So if your file explorer looks like this, you're able to see but not get around very well. So let me delete this before. I meant to delete that. So go to view and you click on navigation pane and you make sure that's turned on. And this folder, you can see it's actually missing the details pane, which is how we were able to put the address in the comments. But for the snip we're gonna do of our new folder, you might even turn that off so we can see more of the comments. We don't need to see that for this next snip. But if it's there, that's fine, but I'll show you why. I'm also at a lower resolution now so you can see everything a little bit better. So if I right click on All About Me project folder, there's on the context menu, you can see there's a lot of things you can do. There is new folder. My favorite way is just to right click where I kind of want it to appear in the blank space. And the context menu actually has a lot fewer things, makes it easier to find new folder. And since I copied that, I paste it, Control V, boom, done. My video assets folder is ready to go. Now, if I go into that folder, I notice that it remembered what I did last time. So I am going to turn off some of the things that you might not have and turn on tags there. And it may even be like an extra large icon. I don't know what yours is going to look like when you create the new folder, but make sure you're on details. And then these are the columns that we need to change. So just right clicking on any one of these, will let you get to the columns. I can turn off the tags. That gives me a little more room. And I can right click again and turn on dimensions. That's a common one, so most of you have that right there. But comments, that's not a very common one, which is exactly why I chose it, to keep the image address in, because it doesn't hardly get used. So you go to more, and of course there are a lot of them to choose from. So it's alphabetical, turn on comments, and now we'll be able to see the pictures as they're copied and pasted in here for like a triple check to make sure the picture is big enough and is documented. Okay, so that's the first part, creating that folder, getting it all set up. We did that once with this folder. You're doing it again for a new one, and we're gonna leave out a lot of the stuff that you see here. So for example, I got some zeros, some examples of what a tiny picture is like. This one may look similar. I guess I'll put the other one somewhere. So this one and this one look the same here, but they are definitely not. One is the thumbnail, one's the actual picture. That's what tripped up some people. So here's my first picture. They're numbered, so I was able to find number one. This matches your outline. If you still haven't numbered them, you gotta do it now, because we're gonna go in order, and the first three are one category, and it just makes it so much easier. So I'm gonna look at it. First number, 4,534. Is that larger or greater than or equal to 2,200? Yes, good. 3,023, considerably larger than 1,200. This one gets to come along. So copy. And because I've got my folders open here, I can easily jump to it. Control V, paste, come back. Look at number two. Octopus, 4,000. Yes, if you look at that first, it's 3 digits, forget it, it's not there. So don't even try that. But if the first number is 3,000, 4,000, it's an easy comparison. This one's 2,700. Has to be larger than 1,200. Yes, it gets to come. And you should see the numbers as you build your final collection here. And then you can get like number 3, check it, yes, Control C, Control V, come back, easy piece. No, I didn't check it. Look at it, make sure you didn't grab the wrong one. Now we come to number 4. Number 4 is the map of Honduras, and I see I have several 4s on here. Let's see, this is the edited version. So when I edited it in Photoshop, I saved it as a new JPEG, and I added the word edited. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but that's the one that we want. It looks the same in size, and it's got the same address, but this is the one that's got the improvements, and this is the original. You want to keep that original, because when we make our portfolio, you want to be able to put them side by side and show before Photoshop and after Photoshop. I adjusted the levels and the hue saturation to increase the color, da, da, da. You're going to say something about it. So that's the, wait, what's this one? Oh, that's right. I had 2 Honduras pictures. Now we got to decide, did I really want the beach, or is the map okay? And I'm going to go with the one that I edited. That's the map. So I'm going to Control C, copy, and paste it in there. So it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is one that I made improvements on. And if you know, you've looked at them, some of you are like, I've got this, they're all good, then you can select more than one at a time. So there's Guam, and I'm going to Control click, checking the numbers here. Yes, number 6, good. Number 7, my sci-fi, yes. Here's action movies. Yep, plenty big. And let me stop there, because I ran into another, like, oh, I got a bunch of 9s. Let's see what that's about. So Control C, video assets, Control V, and triple check right here. All these numbers need to be very much larger than 2,200 by 1,200. Again, it's in the assignment a second time. Now we come to the horror, okay? So I actually had 3 different possibilities. I had this one here that's kind of a spooky forest. And then there was It, which was an exciting movie, but a lot of kids like have that one too. So I wanted something a little different, and I chose this one. It's very dark though. So I can see here that I was trying out to do some photoshopping, but there's not a version that says edited. So I could just stick the original in there, but it's so dark, it's hard to see any detail. So I'm gonna open up the one that I had edited. And you can see here that I did boost the hue saturation a little bit, not a whole lot, but the levels is the one that really made a big difference because it was a very dark picture. Let me hit the reset button. This is what it was like when it came in. So unlike the map where most of the pixels were in that upper right-hand corner, these are all in the darker side. So instead of bringing the black point in and losing more detail, I'm going to bring the white point in and find a spot where the graph starts to go up. Don't go too far, we lose way too much and don't gain enough. So you got to find that part where it's just starting to go up. That's the before and after. That's going to work much better in the video. And yes, wiggling this point, but you got to be careful. Some people like took all the good that came from moving the black point on the map and then kind of ruined it by moving this too far in one direction or the other. This would totally lose the detail that we just got. So really be careful and leave it alone if you're really not sure. But this is before and after. So in the video, we'll be able to see things a whole lot better. So I've got this Photoshop version. It's not saved. I've been tinkering with it. So I'll go ahead and save. Control S is the quick way. But now I need it as a JPEG to easily go into Premiere without taking up a whole lot of room. So File, Save As, and I'm going to switch it from the Photoshop version that I'm working in to JPEG. Now pay attention here, folks, because I get this question over and over. Which JPEG do I choose? It's the first one. These other versions, they never took off. Okay, they didn't get their legacy, their leftover from experiments. And yes, Photoshop can handle just about everything, even these antique formats, but it's the first one, just the plain old JPEG. And don't forget to put the word edited or it's going to save it on top of the old one. So put the word edited in between the 9 and then the name of it, so it's really easy to spot. When you click save, you're going to get a special dialog box here that comes with JPEGs, because JPEGs allow you to compress an image with very little loss in quality, but this is the slider for the quality. So if we wanted the smallest possible file size to take up the least amount of room on a flash drive or whatever, you could bring this way down, but it's not very good quality. Ramp it all the way up, it makes a very large file. So there's very little difference between 10 and 12 as far as what our eyes can see. I wouldn't be able to tell you that one was saved with 12 and that one was saved with 10. But look at the size, it's half the file size. So 10 is a good number, just leave it on there. It's close to the maximum, it's rated as a maximum, and if you just do that every time, you're in good shape. Now there is a dialog box that also comes up when you hit save that says maximize compatibility, and just click OK on that. There's actually a checkbox you can say don't show me that again. We're not worried about being compatible with an ancient version of Photoshop, but that is there just to remind people, look, this is the new Photoshop, so if you were working with an old one, you might want to try and keep it all together. I'm going to click OK and then go back. And now I've got my edited horror movie representative. Control C, copy. I see your hand up. We'll answer that in just a second. Don't forget your question. So I've got my 9 pictures, and then what else did I do? So we've got adjustment layers, practice. Here's my title. So this is the title that has all about me and my name in it. We're going to need this for the video. And so I'm going to copy and paste that as well. So copy and paste. The other thing you might have, well, maybe some of you have made another Photoshop file and put your categories in there. Animals, movies, really big, all the way across that safe zone with some font that looks really great. Then you may have an extra file here with 3 layers with the 3 categories in them, or maybe 3 separate Photoshop files. That's cool too. Just have everything that's large enough and the titles that you've made so we can actually use this folder to make our video, okay? And that's it, that's what goes in here. So this is what you need to give me for proof that you've done this. So I'm gonna open up the snip and maybe even like turn off, I was saying a moment ago, turn off the details pane so I can see more of the URLs, the addresses. This is helpful so I can spot any that say Google in them, because that's the Google image search, not the actual address to the picture. They should end in .jpeg. It would be hard to see the whole thing, but this way I can see a little bit better. And now I'm going to run the snip. I'm going to go from up here in the left-hand corner, because I want to show this PC, documents, project folder, and there's video assets. So show me that whole address there so I know where this folder lives, and give me as much of that as you can right there. That's the snip that I want. Now there are some folks that have a tough time going from this to turning in the image that we just snipped. You don't just copy this and paste it into a document or Google Slides, or I'm getting all sorts of things there. It needs to be this image, and you need to get used to uploading a file from your computer. So let's save this. This is that little disk button. That's the save button, but you can always go to File, Save As with these kinds of things. So File, Save As, and this is what I recommend. I'm already in my project folder. That's where the other snips are. You can see that's the proof. You don't have to put the word proof. But what I think would make the most sense is put CH4-2 at the beginning. That way you know this is the assignment, that's the thing I need to turn in. I wish I'd thought of this earlier, because then I wouldn't get the wrong thing turned into the different assignments. It wasn't enough to give it a good name. It needed to be an exact name, at least at the beginning. And if you look at my example, that's what I attached, CH4-2. And we just made a folder called Video Assets. And then it's the details view, okay, not thumbnails or anything else. So this is a good name for this snip. And look at my example if you want to see that good name for the snip. That's not enough. It's back here, and it needs to get turned in. That's the file we're going to turn in. So let's go do that, because I want you to, there'll be no question how to do this. I'm going to go to that class where I am a student of Mr. Gonzalez. So this is a sample. And you can see that I only have one assignment to play with, to turn things in and remove them. And if you've given me the wrong thing on an assignment, then you need to remove that, unsubmit it, and then click this X. That removes it from there. Otherwise, it's still there and it gets turned in with it. So I'm going to remove it from the assignment. And then I'm going to add the file that I have to upload by browsing on this computer and finding it. Now, the first time you do that, you may be somewhere else. Just be sure you know how to get the documents. There's your project folder, and look for CH4-2, because that's the name of the assignment that you're looking at that moment. So you know that's the one to give me. Double check, especially for those of you that are getting caught up on older assignments. Look at what you're giving me, and then look at the proof of what you need to give me. So on this assignment, it'd be helpful if I'd had this open, because you just have to click on one and then click on the other one. It's right here. So you click here and you click on yours and you compare the two. Is this the same as this? And you look at both of them and you're like, okay, I have all of the same stuff, good. And then you turn it in. I guess I was in the wrong place. I lost it. Let me go back to my class, because it's not turned in yet. So it is not officially there for me to grade. It still says missing. And some of you, it's there, you just didn't click the turn in button. Or you rush and you click the turn in button and you look, there's nothing there. And that is even worse, because then you don't catch it that, oh, I'm missing stuff there. And then it doesn't get turned in time. And then you get a notice saying no work attached. And then you've lost 20 points on each of the grades. Highest you can get is an 80, when you may have already had this. You just gotta click turn in and make sure, final check right there. You got lots of chances to make sure you're giving me the right thing, and turn it in, okay? Any questions about that or anything else? There were some hands that were up. Yes, Katie.
Can I go get a drink?
Can you go get a drink? You don't have to ask me those things. If you see a break, then you just stand up and you walk away and you come back within a minute and we're good. You walk away and never come back, that's gonna look pretty obvious, okay? But yes, you take care of your needs as needed. Thank you for waiting and seeing the rest of the lesson though. That was a very important thing that you did. And this is a good break point and asking questions and looking in the chat. Okay. So anybody need help? Anybody need to look at their pictures and say, I think I've got it, Mr. Hicks. Turn in that snip. Many of you have good image collections. Some of you still need to find some pictures. Even if at this point you find, oh gosh, this one had looked big enough, but I guess it wasn't. There's time for you to go and find a replacement for that one picture. 2 pictures, 9 pictures. Some of you are able to do this very quickly. As long as they're all documented, they're large enough, and they're good quality. You do have to look at the picture and see if it's really blurry or whatever. So sometimes people take a small picture and make it really large and stick it on the internet, and you think, oh, look, high resolution. And then we actually look at it and it's like so obvious that it's way too big. All right. Let me show you why this is so critical. Okay, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of Premiere and what happens if you have a small picture that sneaks through this final check and still gets in this video assets folder. So this is Adobe Premiere. This is what we'll start using next week. And it's got a lot of moving parts, but you'll get used to them. So don't get too scared. This is called a timeline. It starts at 0 seconds and just goes forward in time from there. This is our, I call it laser pointer, but it's the current time indicator. This is what you see at your video at that particular moment in time. And right now there's nothing there because my assets are here in the asset box. This is the project folder. Okay, so I've got a picture here that when I drag it to the timeline, you can see this was a thumbnail. It was not the actual picture out on the internet. I just saved it just right there like many of you did when we were first getting started. And this is not going to work. If there's any black around here, then it's smaller than 1920 by 1080. And it needs to be significantly larger than 1920 by 1080 for us to do anything with it. And yes, I have had students who find the scale and they're like, oh, look, it's big enough. And it may not look half bad through the zoom when it's like this. But let me show you, and I'm going to move my windows around. This is adjusting automatically. When we look at it at 100%, this is pixel for pixel, the way it's going to look on the video when it's playing on the screen. And you can tell that this was a thumbnail that was stretched all out of shape. Even going to 100.1% is illegal. There's no reason for us to have to scale up a picture past 100 when we were able to tell Google, hey, just show me like the 8 megapixel monsters out there and I'll take my pick from those. Okay, so this picture, which I just kind of did at random, but when I did grab the picture, it is bigger than 1920 by 1080, not by much, but enough to let me do a little bit of animating with it. So let me show you what that means. This picture is on there. I'm going to scale this down to 10%, but I'm going to select the picture so you can see the outline of where the actual picture is. Okay, so I've got a little bit of room to work with here. Let me reset its position. What we do is we find, I call it the magic number. How far down can we scale it without seeing any black lines anywhere? And for this one, the magic number is 80. So I'm going to tell it to start the video at 0 seconds, looking at the whole thing like this. Then we go to the end, back 1 frame, and we can scale it up, well, a maximum of 100. So I have you just type in 100, and that's that. That's as far as you can go. And we've created a little bit of an animation with this. It's not too dramatic, but it's actually 20% increase I've allowed you even just like a 10% increase is enough to get a little bit of movement in it. So it's animated, not just sitting there looking at a picture, okay? So again, that is a slow zoom, and you could go in or you could go out, but that's about all we can do with something that is this size. We can go in a little bit and maybe pick a little bit of a different angle to zoom in on. So what happens if you have a good size picture? Well, this is my sci-fi picture. And when I select it, you can see it's considerably larger than 1920 by 1080. It's not the biggest one I have, but it is very large. And that gives us options. Let me move back to fit so you can see it a little better. I can decide, like, where do I want to start? Maybe I want to start on the spaceship or on the creepy guy, or maybe down here and just show the ruined city apocalypse, okay? So I'm telling a different story depending on where I start. So I'm going to keyframe from the destroyed city and then go to the end. And then I make a decision of what do I want to do? Do I want to go up and look at the spaceship, or maybe go and look at the guy? So this would be from the city, and then that's the man who destroyed the city. Or maybe change my mind, be right at the very end. This resolution's hard. And again, decide that I'm going to go look over here instead. So now it goes from there and goes up. Or maybe one more possibility here. I'm going to reset the position and zoom out. So my magic number with this one is 51, maybe even 50. So I can really move a lot further on my zoom. So here we go. This is my final decision. Show the ruined city and then get both of the things in there, zooming out all of that distance and being able to see the whole thing. So those are the options that you get when you have large pictures. So your larger images, you have more decisions to make of what do I want to go and look at or come out from or move across. Very, very important to have large enough images. I can't emphasize it enough, apparently, because we've still got some pictures that are trying to sneak through here that are just too small. So this is when you're really check those two numbers. I stopped short of making a spreadsheet and making you type in all the numbers, and then it would tell you, it would turn red if it was smaller than, or green if it was bigger than. But you guys can do those kinds of mathematical operations just fine, so that this collection, when we bring it all in, we're good to go with the next part of this. We can get to the fun stuff. All right. Questions, problems? Installing Premiere. Last period, I made the decision. I had on the data family, you know, the different versions of the software, and I went with this one. So it's 14.3. It's written on the stream on data family. So let me, because I'll help you install it right now if you like, but let me show you where that is. So going to the data family. Okay, this is the one that everybody's a part of, so everybody gets to see this same thing at the same time. I just have one place to go and change it, and here is Premiere version 14.3. So you got to find that version when you look at other versions in order to have the exact same one. So anybody that wants to install that now, where we can like share the screen and everybody can see how to go and get the right Premiere, I'm certainly hoping that's going to be the version that works the best for everybody. Jude wants to? Okay. Oh, let me make sure security is, yeah, share screen is turned on. Okay, Jude Rainey. Yes, Josh, we can. So first person to share their screen, we will install. Okay. All right, so we're here in Creative Cloud, and scroll down and find Premiere. It's over on the right-hand side. There it is. Click on the three dots next to install. That way we don't just install the latest version, we can all have the same one, because next week they may have a new version, and another version will all have different ones. So look down to the third one under older versions. It's 14.3 nothing. So just the 14.3 and click install, and now you're installing. And you know that because in the upper right-hand corner next to the blue Pac-Man, you've actually got a little cloud with the information, click on it, of what's happening right now with the desktop. So it's installing two things. You need the media encoder to go along with Premiere Pro, because that is what helps you export the video at the end and have the actual file you can watch, you can upload to YouTube. Up until then, it's a project like what you just saw. What you saw in Premiere with me right now is not an actual video. It's the recipe, it's the raw ingredients, it's the recipe, and we need the oven to mix it up and bake it in. And that's what Media Encoder does for us. And it's gonna take a little while, and you're gonna wanna make sure you have enough room on your computer. Not too hard. I'm gonna share mine real quick and show you what I've got on my computer. So if I go to my File Explorer, find this PC, remember, if you just click on it, you can see your hard drive, your C drive. And I've got 158 gigabytes free. I'm doing pretty good. If you get down to 10 or less, we could be having a problem, because as we're editing in Premiere, it's creating scratch files, and it may need to have a little more room than that. So that's why you don't just go on Adobe Creative Cloud and just start installing all this stuff. You don't even know what it is. We're just gonna do the ones that we definitely want, and maybe one that your folks might want. That Adobe Acrobat that is listed in that versions, they may be like really excited that you've got that, because everybody has Acrobat Reader, but to be able to edit PDF documents and modify them so you can make it fillable. So instead of having to print it out and sign it, you can actually like make it so you can fill it in with a typewriter and then print it out. It's actually something a lot of people wish they had, and you've got it just because it happens to be an Adobe program and you've got the full Adobe suite. So that can be a nice thing to add in there and to know about. All right, got more comments here. Okay, same things. Change the photos. Okay, so you swapped out a category's photos, and that's great. This is a good time to do that. If you're up on everything else, if you're missing 4 other assignments or whatever, then no, you might go with what you have. But if you're caught up and you're like, you know what, I know what I want my category to be now, this is a time when you can make that happen. Just don't have smaller pictures in another category when you're changing out the pictures to one that was fine before. And I've got a set of pictures. In fact, I'll show you, because I will be doing this for some people. I will say, no, they're still small. Here, take these instead. So on Datatex Studio, okay, this is linked in a couple places on our classroom. This is how you get to my tutoring. There are many of you that should be coming to these tutoring sessions, and I've been having them in the mornings. I can't do them these afternoons, and I won't be here Friday, tomorrow, but I can also do that on a normal Friday. This button is orange. You click on it, boom, we're talking, okay? So I've made it 2 clicks. You click to go to the website, you click on that, and I can help you, okay? So I've made it as easy as possible. I think I'm the only one with tutoring 4 days a week, and more if necessary. So I am more than willing to help you, and I'm offering it, and I'm showing you how to get to me, but I can't go to your home and make you click on that and force you to come, even though I'm saying it's mandatory if you're not passing this class. The encoder, it will do it automatically. I didn't choose that one, you just let it do it, and hopefully it does the right one. Mine is actually out of whack, I guess, because I have 2 versions of Premiere and I don't get to use the encoder. And it's a real pain because Premiere has to sit there doing the work and I have to wait for it until it's done, and then I can keep working. Media Encoder, it takes over and you can go back and keep working the Premiere and tweaking it more and just see what it looks like when it does export the version. All right, more questions?